Hey guys, it's Goofs back again for another video. I think we're in episode number 58 now of our series of 10-minute games and analysis, of course, following the games. And here we're playing as Black against Sparkly Hoax from the United States of America. And we've hopped into an advanced variation of the French. And I'm going to go ahead and play Knight E7. Main move is Knight C3. Oh, but that's fine. Bishop D3 can also transpose with just Knight C3 intending to castle. So I expect to see Knight C3 still here. What is this move? Whoa. That's... what? I'm not exactly sure what this move is. So usually people go Knight C3, then I'll put bishop or B6, and then bring my bishop to A6, so I can pin this bishop to the rook once he castles, so I can just trade off the like for bishops. But he just moved the bishop out of the way. It is using up a tempo, so maybe we still play bishop or B6 and then bishop A6. And how does he castle? I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to go ahead and still play bishop B6 and then bishop A6, because I'm not exactly sure how he's going to castle unless he plays something like this. But then still, I'll go ahead and play this because I have the knight protecting. If he just goes back, he just wasted a move. But yeah, he goes knight F3. I think I'm still going to play this move. I don't know how he's going to castle yet. But yeah, let's check this out. Let's check this out. Okay, there we go. He just brought his bishop back here. So he brought his bishop to D3, moved it to C2, and back to D3. So he's just down tempo. And I could trade this off. He takes with the queen, and then I could develop my knight and bishop like this, very simply. And it should be fine for us. Let's go ahead and do it. Yep, so that happens. I think I should put bishop E7 first, just in case he does something like this, because I can just take. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play bishop E7 first, and then we can play knight D7, castles, all the normal stuff, you know. Okay, my opponent played this move here, which is cool. If we do take here, he should take with the pawn, or else this pawn over here becomes really weak. If he does take with this pawn, then this file does open up. So that could be interesting. So after something like this, and then if he castles, and I play it right here, and then if he moves here, maybe we could take, he takes, and then I can go here and try to jump into this square. That's a possibility. Or I can just play queen c7 immediately. And then let's say if he castles, I can take over here, and if he takes with the pawn, I play knight over here. Second against queen, then I'd be jumping onto the square. But he still has this check, so maybe not just yet. I think I'm going to go ahead with the normal knight d7 over here, just to kind of take back. Maybe this way too. Lots of ideas though. So over here, maybe I should do just rook c8. He does have this idea just jumping in here, but I think after just something like queen c7, we should be all good to go. It's all safe. Anyways, let's try this. I'm threatening to just take right here. I expect something like this. But he doesn't do that. He goes ahead and plays a3, which actually does make sense. He's just stopping me from playing knight to b4. But this does weaken the light squares quite a bit, and he doesn't have any light square bishops left. So if I do play something like c4 here, push out his queen, and if he goes back to, let's say, c2, I could play my knight over here, trying to get into the square, but he'll probably just play knight d2, stopping that completely. And then that's kind of where the game would begin. Another thing could just be to play this move right here. But if you play something like rook e1, and then if we take, I take with the knight here, he takes back, I take with the knight here. Could be a bit risky, but it takes here, and I take with the knight. Maybe I should take with the bishop though, just to push this. I don't know. I think I like f6. It's not too dangerous. I can always castle on the move, and he doesn't have a light square bishop to attack me on this diagonal, nor does he have a queen to try to put on h5 just yet, because he's already moved his queen this way. Okay, another bishop move, which means that he really likes using these bishop moves. It's very interesting. Um, if I do take over here, we're eventually gonna get a pawn onto the square. How good is that for us? So if we take over here and he takes the pawn, and then I just castle, I'm attacking this thing, which could be really interesting. Maybe I should do this right now, but then if he takes, I take the bishop maybe, and then he plays rook e1. I don't think I can push this just yet, so I'm going to go ahead and take with the pawn first. If he takes with the knight, I'll take with a knight. And then if he takes with this bishop, I'll take with this. He takes with the pawn, I can castle. And then he's not going to be really able to attack this e6 square too much. But my opponent, takes with the knight first. So I have a small choice to see which knight I want to take with. I think I'm going to take with this knight, because if I do take with this knight and takes with the pawn, it doesn't really have a future. It's going to have to like get rerouted back to c6 anyway, so I'm going to take with the d7 knight first. Okay, he takes with the bishop. I think if I castle here, it just seems awkward. So I'm going to take it with this. Okay, that seems fine. And yeah, now I'm going to go ahead and just castle. It seems fine. Okay, I think I'm going to go... let's see. We could play this move in the hopes of if he goes onto like this diagonal, we just have this pin immediately. It's not really too great to play hope chess though. So maybe this kind of move is better, but he does slide in over here, which could be kind of annoying. Or do we just sit on the d4 square with our queen? It's interesting. Because if he goes here, I go over here, he takes, I take with my piece. He does have a passed pawn, so maybe I should do that. c4 on the other hand, it does make some nice squares for his knight. Like this d4 square. It'll take him some time to get there, but I don't know. I think I'm going to go ahead with c4. He just moves his queen back. I could give him a little check over here, but doesn't do too much just yet. Check, and then his king moves over. I could move my rook over here. Or not my rook, my queen over here, trying to attack this pawn. But he just has this move very simply. This doesn't seem to do too much. If he plays b3, where does my queen go? Just on this square? I guess, and then we just try to reroute, but his queen is still protecting this thing. So I don't exactly see how that works. Unless I try to bring another rook over, but it's going to take some time. And you can always play something like this, but I guess our bishop is here. Let's go ahead and try it out. I'm not exactly sure what else I could be doing, so I'm going to go ahead with this plan. And it is interesting. I mean, my bishop has a really nice diagonal for itself. If you just play b3 and play this, he goes here. I do have en passant. So I'm going to, yeah, let's go ahead and try this out. He goes ahead and plays his queen to this square, which is cool. It's also very annoying because, you know, I'm not exactly sure how to play against it. If I just take, he takes with the king. And after that, maybe play something like this so he can't play b4 or g4 himself. And then I guess we just stack the rooks onto this file. Like this. Yeah, okay, let's try this. Yeah, I think this is fine. Let's try to stack the rooks on this file. He is heading to this square, though. It's okay, though. If he goes here, I think we do have to play h6, so he can't use this square. But yeah, now I feel like I do have to take, or else he's really getting into my private property. So if I take here, he takes back. I play b5 or g5. If he takes, I take over here. He takes over here. I take over here, and then he king takes, and then I take over here. Um, we might be able to make a pass pawn on this side of the board. Let's do this. Okay, he does that. Maybe I should push this pawn first, and then over here, because we do have this g5 move for what feels like almost forever, unless he plays h4, I guess. But h4, I can still play g5. If he takes, I take. He takes, I take. He takes, I take. Oh, but he has this move, and I kind of missed this one. So if we play g5 now, and he stacks this rook, it's a little confusing. I'm going to go ahead and push this pawn first, though. Also, we're only having a minute left on our clock, so we're going to have to move a little quicker. It's interesting how our opponents never end up using time, but they're at the same position as us, so they're pretty strong players for sure. Our opponent did make a lot of like moving back and forth things, so I feel like they must have made some mistakes somewhere, but wasn't able to find them. Anyways, if he takes here, I take over here. His rook takes, I take, king takes. Maybe I just push here, try to make a pass pawn. He takes like this. I'm going to push this pawn. He has to go here. I do this, this, this. He goes here. Oh, he has this move. No worries. I'll still do this thing. And then maybe we can try to infiltrate through the queen side, actually. Though it will be tough. If he just pushes, I'm not exactly sure what to do. We could just put a rook on this square and then stop any pushes for him. So if we play this, I don't like it too much though. Let's do this. I have 28 seconds left, so I feel like we might have actually just lost on time, but it is what it is. I'm making as much progress as I can, but it might not be enough, unfortunately. He also has this move, which is really interesting. The only move to save this pawn would be rook e2, in which case, I guess I'll just move my rook one more square up. I'll take over here, so that if he takes... He doesn't take, though. Interesting. Did I just lose? I think we just lost. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and resign here. Well, we'll let the time run out, I guess. We got 3 seconds. But we messed up this endgame quite a bit, unfortunately. Oh, no, we dropped this pawn too. Oh, And there's the time. We messed up towards the end right there. The computer does say we had 3 mistakes, so we should for sure check those out. I feel like we might have had some misses in there, sprinkled throughout, because it just felt like we were doing the right things. Because bishop c2 feels a little weird. We played b6, which is a slight mistake, apparently. Apparently, the best move is this. Because if he takes it back, let's see. What do we do? We have knight b4 attacking this piece, and doesn't quite win us the bishop pair because he still has these 2 moves. So if he goes here, let's say, I guess we just play bishop d7 and trade off our light square bishops like we always wanted to in the first place. He just plays bishop b3. Apparently we have queen a5 setting up a discovery. It also likes knight 8 to c6 just developing. If I get pushed back, we can always just retreat to c7 like this. It's interesting. I opted for b6, which is fine. Bishop a6 was played. We trade off the bishops. I played bishop e7. This is all normal. Apparently here, c4 should have been played after this as well. Let's see. He plays a3, weakening those squares. And apparently everything is really playable. Almost everything is playable. Even c4 is up there. c4, a5, f6, f5. Castles is all up there. I played f6, which is excellent. He plays bishop f4, which is a slight mistake, apparently. I went ahead and took, which still also works. He takes back, I take back, he takes back, I take back. But apparently I should have castled. That's interesting. Yeah, this is interesting, because after something like this, he could have just this move, and I'm thinking about how would I fix this. Oh, I have c takes d4, which will help us do something. If he takes with the c pawn, he does have an isolated pawn, but his bishop is really strong, so we might end up trading this off in the future. Or maybe we just try to put this knight onto here. Knight takes e5, yep, as you guys can see, it's being traded off. So I'm not exactly sure what this is about. Because after something like this, he can take with either side. It's almost perfectly symmetrical. We do have the slightly better minor piece. And we also have a slightly better development. So I'm not sure, but queen, rook takes, well, sorry, it's our move. Rook takes, queen takes, and then do we play rook c2? It's up there. It's up there. Bishop g5 is also playable. It's not even coming here, I guess. But he just has this move, so I'm not sure. But I like rook c2, though. Whoops, rook c2. That's interesting. But kind of missed that. I instead just took here, which is still okay. And then I castled, and he plays f4. And I played c4, which is an inaccuracy. Apparently, I should have played g5, which is really interesting. If he takes, I guess I'll just take with the bishop. Or maybe I should take his rook first. He takes back, and then maybe I should take with the bishop. Or I should even drop a check in first. Check, and if he tries to block, I'll just take his piece. And then once I take here, he does have some really weak pawns on both this square and that square. He's going to lose another pawn, and we should be able to win this endgame. Interesting. We also had c4. Yeah, rook takes. We already looked at that kind of line already. But apparently, taking our pawn is not the best option. He has knight d2. And it looks like a free pawn. But is it? I don't know. Queen h3. If I bring my rook up here, it's just, I guess, ready to double stuff up in case I need to. Also, it's protecting this pawn. That's smart. Queen g4. And I guess I just move my king over. Oh, and we haven't opened g-file for attacks. That's interesting, actually, because we do have really good attacking potential with, like, rook g5 because of this bishop. And his rook's still in the corner. His knight's also not perfectly here to deal with everything just yet. That's really interesting. But he does win this pawn back, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. He does have an isolated pawn, but I don't think it can be that bad. But I guess apparently we will just play on this side. Maybe we have a queen here, move, trade off something, and it's a slightly better endgame for us, but still very tough to analyze. Anyways, we played c4, which is okay. It's still up in the top 5 moves until it isn't, and then it comes back. But he moves back, and then I get the bishop check. I move my queen over here. G plays g3, and apparently over here we are completely winning with almost -2. That's not true. It's like -1.5. But I have to find g5. I did not find g5, but g5, we saw this as an idea later on in the future. Right now, I think it works because after this, I mean, he's just winning a pawn. But, we have rook f1 check, and wherever this king moves, I have this move, rook f2, because of this bishop. And now I'm going to be winning these pawns. So if he plays something like knight d2, I win this pawn. And then I can come back around and win another pawn over here. So that is interesting. So if he does knight d2, I play here. And there's always a slight threat of like this kind of thing. But apparently, yeah, rook d1 is the best move. And we can just play rook g2 and win some sort of pawn in the future, which is really nice. A4 is also up there. Maybe we drop this check in first. Apparently bishop f2 is an idea. Oh, bishop f2 and just take the pawn. And then of course if his king moves over like this, we're attacking his knight, so he has to go back. Yeah, that's a cool move. That's something that we should have seen. Unfortunately, we did not see this. Best move would have just been rook f3, but I guess we take. And we still have the better development. So even after something like I guess rook f3, and if we take, and he takes with the rook, I take back, he takes, and I guess I could play just king f2, maybe? King f7 I meant, which is up there. Apparently rook f8 is better. Rook f8, and if he tries to protect it like this, we have bishop g1 coming all the way around to win a pawn. That's amazing. So that's really weakening. Apparently f4 is the best move, but we have rook c7 wanting to bring in a rook from the other side, and we just have better development, which is really interesting. Apparently we played we did play rook f7, which is slightly worse, and now it's kind of drawn. We play h6. He brings his knight over there, and I have to take, and still, it's almost tied. It's almost drawn. Actually, the computer, as it thinks, gives black a bigger and bigger edge, but it really wants g5, and I guess we just have the more active pieces. After something like g5, and if he takes, which I don't think he should, here and here, it might be equal because he has a 2-on-1 here, while when I have like a 3-on-2 over here. So like my king will make sure that this doesn't move, and his king will make sure that this doesn't move. So it seems kind of equal. And the edge has kind of disappeared. So maybe that wasn't the best moves. Oh, you don't want to take here because then you just help him contest the file. You want to take here first. And then if he does this, we're just up a tempo now. And actually we have g4 over here. So this actually puts a stop to all these shenanigans. And we just bring our king up here. So g4, he can't play this. We just drop a pawn. So now maybe he wants to bring his king around like this. But if he does this, I guess we have king f7, and he does this, I have this, does this, I have this move. And this pawn is able to paralyze these two pawns, so the only thing left is the 3-on-2 on the other side of the board. That's interesting. But we played b5, which is okay. And we still wanted to play g5 here, but I missed it. And then I played g5 finally. Over here, I shouldn't have played g4. Oh, it's still fine, actually. Apparently, king g7 is a better move, just keeping the tension on. But we played g7. And then he played this, and then I played b4, trying to make something happen on this other side of the board. He moves his rook back. Here I should have played rook b8, which I do find. He brings his rook up. And here I should have played h5, but I brought a rook over here. King g7, a4 is also up there. Thinking. Why doesn't this move work? He took over here, which is a mistake, but apparently he had h3, but then I'll just play h5. But he now has f5, and I guess f5 was the biggest problem in the entire game, because this actually allows him to get the edge in development, because now all of a sudden he has an open file while nobody else has an open file. So that's probably the mistake, actually. Just not bringing the rook over there. If I played this, he can't really play f5 here because it just drops a pawn. I could take over here. If I take back, he takes here, and he doesn't really have a way to pressure this. I could just put a rook over here and then just make sure everything is all good and safe to go. That makes sense. But I played this, and then all of a sudden it starts to fall apart a little bit. He played this though, which slows it a little down. I should have played Rook F8 just to stop this from happening, but I played Rook B3, and he finds F5 finally, and all of a sudden he is just completely winning. Oh, wait, this is still drawn because I still have this move apparently. If he takes here, but I don't really have the pressure anymore. But I have Rook B7. If he takes this pawn, then I guess I have to take this pawn, and then we take. He's gonna take this pawn, and he does have an extra pawn, but rook and pawn in games are often very drawish. So somehow the engine will find a draw in this game too. And apparently, black has the slightest edge even. Oh, because we're still gonna win a pawn back, and I guess our pass pawn is slightly more passed than his. So that's interesting though. But we mess up really badly, and that's just losing. So going back, we need to find g5 much sooner, right here. That's where we need to find g5. If he plays the normal knight d2, we take, he takes back, probably not with the rook. If you take rook f3, he's just going to lose a pawn, which is really weird. I don't know why he'd want to lose a pawn just like that. So I feel like, well, if he takes over here, we saw this already. You take over here, he takes back. We do have this move. Oh no, we have bishop e3 winning this pawn now because of this fork. And that's knight, and d2 is the only square where he can develop this knight. That's interesting. If he takes with the pawn instead, I guess, does this c7 still work? No, we still do this funny fork thing. Yeah, I missed this fork as well. I didn't think about this. These are all ideas that I just did not think about. But g5 is really strong, so knight d2 is like the most natural move. Everything else is just we've already kind of explored. Or like if he kind of just like moves the rook like here, we're gonna take, and then we're just up like the thing, and we're still gonna win a piece, like all this stuff. This g5 move makes everything on the king side really weak. His pieces are still tied up on the queen side, just sitting on their home squares. But h2 is really weak because of this bishop coming in through g1. And then, of course, this pawn is going to be a big target because it can never push itself to like f6 with this e6 pawn. So it's always going to be a target with these rooks coming over here. Semi-open file. So, unfortunately, we missed this one. It was in the palms of our hands. It was very close, but we kind of messed it up just a little bit. We were playing it really well, but we messed it up, and we lost the win, but that's fine. He's a really good player. He was 2020, so strong player, and I'm happy to get a game like this against a strong player. Very great learning opportunity. Anyways, this was the French Defense Advanced Variation, and I think that should be it for this video, so I'm going to go ahead and end it over here, and I'll see you guys next time.